I'm not
Okay,
seeing.
so yeah, so I think each individual person has to do it.
I'm seeing all 3 check marks. So let's see.
Oh, I hit it on mine.
Oh, look at that. Hey, guys, what's up? Professional streamers again. Pretending we know what we're doing. Let me go send out all my my blasts here.
There we go.
But anyway, how you doing today, Ren?
I'm good. I am good.
This sounded so
It's Friday. Is it coming through good?
I hear you. I don't know who else hears you, but
It actually sounds like we're in the same room, kind of, doesn't it?
I know
That's
it's
kind of cool.
fancy. Like this is super fancy.
No, but I'm good. It's Friday. I took a half day today because I worked too much, I guess. So now we're just at home with the kids and
beautiful.
relaxing.
Hey, it's a good thing. And look at that. We got the oh, wait. There's one more thing we're missing. Why won't it let me? Uh-oh, I broke something. There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to do the stream together. How do I do stream together?
It should just be okay. Oh, there it is. It just popped up on my side. Give me 1 second.
And see if you can merge the chats.
Oh, why did this just okay? There we go. Accept, and then you just mute it.
Sure. Wait.
Yeah, I just mute all audio. So that little thing that pops up, and then the chat should be merged.
And start shared chat.
Yep.
How do I mute my? Get this. There we go. I believe the chats are now merged. Where the fuck did my chat go? Okay, got it. Boom. There it is. Okay. So what's going on, guys? Ren, good to see you yet again.
Oh yeah. Back at it again.
So, oh my God, there's gonna be ads. I forgot about that. Oh well. So anyway, welcome to the Mental Reveille podcast, everyone. I am your extremely ugly and balding host, Salty.
No lies detected.
With me, I have my nice-haired buddy, Rin.
Do have the hair.
We make a good team. Andy, what's going on, man? So today's an awesome day. We have a guest with us. He's sitting there. He's sitting there with the in the waiting room. We're giving him some snacks, so he's happy. But we're gonna bring him on. We have Nick DeLucia from Rex Racing. He is an F4 driver. He also owns a management team which helps people get into F4 racing or just racing in general. So we're gonna bring him on. Hey Nick, there he is. Nick, welcome on.
Those snacks were very good. That was the best introduction I've ever had. It was the first one I've ever had. So, Ron, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're glad to. I know we're super excited.
I don't know anything about this, so I'm willing and I'm ready to learn.
Awesome.
So, for those who don't know, I met Nick probably about a year ago through Instagram. We talked about, I don't even know how we were talking about before. I'm like, I don't even know how the hell I found you. It just kind of, the interwebs made it happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, look, you like racing, and we're not allowed to talk about what else I like. But
well, that's the really cool part, I'd say, about social media as a racing driver is I've talked to kids from Egypt. I help kids from all over the world. It's not just mainly in the United States, and that's the privilege too. And I have the amazing privilege of getting to work with and talk to so many veterans too, which is my family is a huge veteran family. And it's such an honor to be able to talk to people like yourself and stuff like that. So
we're glad to have you on. Thank you so much for that. So let's open it up. I know we got a long night, and I mean, we got 13. We already got 13 people watching in all of what, 40 seconds?
Yeah, I was gonna say quick.
Yeah. So let's open it up with tell us about your story, your family, your racing life, and also your non-racing life.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'm 22 now. I'm gonna be 23 at the end of September 30th. It's definitely been a crazy past couple of years. Non-racing life, grew up the same way any other kid would in New Jersey. School, played baseball, football, nothing like very average, went to high school, went to college. I did grow up in a business family. So my family, we own our own outdoor advertising service. That's going to be important later because that's what kind of helped me like mold my brain into the business aspects of racing when I was transitioning.
I was still waiting to hear construction.
Yeah. I wish. My roommate's into that, but I always tell people I have dainty hands, so can't be doing that. But yeah, no, I mean, it was really like, I had a great life growing up. It was very nothing like, crazy or anything like that, but other than that, I can't even think of, anything that it would be that's like this and that. It was literally just, middle school, started playing sports, and like, cause I always tell people, it's not like we live in Italy where, most of the kids around there are going karting. I grew up in New Jersey, so everything was baseball. You know what I mean? But in terms of racing life now, it's all my family, all my girlfriend hears, and I won't shut up about it. And I wouldn't have it any other way, but I definitely won't get too much into the racing stuff right out of the back because I know there's definitely a lot of questions about it. So, but yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
So let me ask you this one, and there's a fun story behind this.
Okay.
Who's your least favorite F1 racer, and why is it Max Verstappen?
Max, I'm actually okay. I will say this: I am a Max fan. I was a Max fan for a while, but I did say before this 2025 car was ever built, I did say Oscar is going to be next in line, and I was saying that 2 years ago. So I don't even.
So there's a joke behind that. And in my video when I take a break, there's a clip of me just sitting here going, I'm gonna say it. I don't like Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
He happened to have been in the chat that day.
Oh my god.
And he called me out on it. Now, what's also funny is I play F1 Manager, and I did a McLaren season. No cheats, no nothing. Oscar won the 2025 season in my game.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and then I'm watching, I'm going, and Lando was second, and it was tight. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, you can see the trajectory right now, right? So
it's going to be to the end.
Yeah.
But no, Rin, you got a couple questions?
Yeah. So just for me and everybody else that don't know about anything about racing, what's the difference? Because I think when I think about racing, like professional racing, I'm thinking like NASCAR or something like that. What would you say the big differences are, NASCAR and Formula?
Yeah. Yeah. So NASCAR, I mean, for me, it comes down to really a culture surrounded by it. When you look at Formula racing, it has more of this weird aesthetic to it, and more of like a European class to it, right? Because all Formula racing, it gets built over in Europe, especially for Formula One, right? We do have IndyCar over here, but the vibe of IndyCar gives roughly the same vibe as America, and it's the same thing with any car culture. Like people look at Ford and they look at like American made and just RPMs and outputs and just muscle and stuff like that, and that's the kind of sense that I get with NASCAR. It's very just like rough and tough, rubbing, fighting, wrecking. And it's incredible. They're even though they're both racing, they're two opposite worlds. but it's so cool that they have their own thing. So I'd say, like I said, NASCAR is very rough and tough. Formula, it's like if anyone touches wheels, you can go flying in the air. So it's very, point and shoot, very like.
So would you say in NASCAR, rubbing's racing, and in F1, rubbing's death?
Yeah, that's essentially what I said. Because
it's a bad day.
You can see it. My favorite moment in Formula One, not in general, but to describe what I'm talking about, is in the 2021 season of Max and Lewis going through. Yeah,
let's not talk about that season.
Boom, right there. I think Lewis got pretty good at that, but we're not going to. But yeah, that's pretty much
all the time, though. I mean, I know I watch weekly. I'm super excited for Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of getting but you watch though, these guys, I mean, they get within millimeters of each other, but the nice part is the safety behind those cars too. Like perfect example. And I just Roman Grosjean, the safety behind that, and I know I've shown that. He somehow split his car in half and caught fire.
Yeah.
Walked out with a burnt hand and a burnt foot. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll send you that video later. You'll be like,
what
the shit.
Yeah. And that's a thing I also tell people too, especially to, put my girlfriend at ease. I feel less safe driving on the parkway, and I'll kind of explain that. Obviously, I know full well I'm going faster, but when you're in something like a Formula 4 series, we're all roughly the same age. We all want to get better. It's the same way another team sport would work, even though you're competing against each other. Everyone who's there has the sole intention to keep everyone safe, to bring everyone's car home. No one has any intentions of, I'm going to go out and just, I don't care what happens. I don't care this, that, and the other. There have been a couple of people to exist to do that, but the main intention there is to keep everyone safe. So when I'm out there, I know someone's not going to put me in harm's way. Yes, some things might happen, but you have the comfortability of this person's trained just as much, if not more than I am right next to me. So I can trust that he's going to do what he's going to do. If I'm on the parkway and I look over and someone's in the middle lane and on their phone, so the safety, being in a full carbon fiber body, full carbon fiber helmet, there's another level of comfortability behind that, I will say.
That was a good explanation. I feel like I know what racing is now. So I'll go one step further. You said you race as well. It's F4, correct?
Yes.
So is there levels to that? And if so, like, what's the difference there? Is it just bigger engine or like?
I love this question. I'm actually moving to GT4. I have a potential seat secured to do, and this is, I guess, an announcement that we'll do later also, Salty, but to do GT4 in an Aston Martin with Skip Barber in WRL next year. Still working on funding for that. So I'm definitely pivoting out of Formula cars. But the best way I describe it is, because everyone knows levels of football, everyone knows levels of baseball, is just look at it like F4 being high school football or high school baseball. Not serious, kind of like recreational, just working up. Anyone who gets signed to the MLB obviously probably played high school baseball. They had to go through that progression and stuff. In terms of the cars themselves, yes, it's just, the higher in number you go, the lower everything is with the car. So, less downforce, less power output, less horsepower. Like, you're looking at a Formula 1 car, those things have, 1,000+ horsepower. You look at a Formula 4 car, we're only at, 160 or something like that. So it's just higher you go in number, the way more dialed back the car is and stuff.
So we do have a question from the chat. What's your favorite part about racing?
Oh, that's a great one. I usually get like the troll questions every time I'm online, but that was a beautiful question. Favorite part, I love explaining this. You can only explain it to your dad so many times though. I was never like, I was always quieter when I played sports. I like being focused. I like, thinking and stuff like that. There is an indescribable feeling when you're in a car strapped in so tight that it feels like it's a part of your body and you're in your helmet alone. And it's the closest place you can get to really being like in your own mind and stuff like that. Because when you close that visor and you're just in there and you can hear yourself talking, it's unlike anything I've ever felt on earth. And like I said before, you're in that car tight, obviously, because they don't want you flying out, right? And it feels like it's a part of you. You can feel everything, all at once. Sometimes it's not good because the floor is so low, and I was at Sebring coming around Sunset Bend, and I just jacked the floor, and it hurt my butt really bad. I just felt it go right up my butt, and yeah, it wasn't good. But my favorite part is it's that feeling of being inside your own mind that I couldn't even get if I closed the door, put on noise canceling headphones, and stayed by myself. It's just you can't recreate that kind of feeling.
I kind of know that feeling. I kind of know that feeling, Rin. I don't know, like when you went to qual with the military and you got your headsets in, your Kevlar's on, and I don't know. For me, I slow my breathing down. I kind of hit this nice little tunnel vision zone that definitely different. I'm not doing 150, 180 miles an hour, but I'm shooting something that goes just as fast, if not faster.
Yeah.
So, but with that, what first got you into racing?
Yeah, so I guess we'll come out of the gate with it. Essentially, long story short, a brain tumor. Kind of going more into depth of that. I always wanted to drive. Ever since, if I had to bring it down to a moment, my dad gave me his old Hot Wheels when he was a kid. I had Michael Schumacher's, 1/8 scale F1 car in my room, play with it every day. But you're a kid, you're 6 years old, and at least me at 6 years old, I couldn't focus on one thing. It was just, but it was always there, right? And then things happen, you grow up, you live in a place where it's not prominent, no one knows anything about it. My family growing up, we did, I should say, okay for ourselves. So it wasn't even like we didn't have a viable option to break into it. It was that no one knew anything about it. No one knew, what LO206 even was. No one knew, anything beyond what K1 is now. So I grew up and I'm in college and I'm 19 years old, and I'll tell this the short way or the long way, whichever you prefer, Salty. But
hey, your show, your show. You got the floor. Hold on. Let's really make it that way. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, no, it's Bridget's show.
There we go. There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But I'm
Still
19.
Professional.
Yeah, I know, right? No, this whatever this platform is phenomenal. But I'm 19. I'm in college. I played football in high school. I wasn't good, you can't really blame that on anything. I was never good at something, right? And everyone was good at something. It didn't even matter if it was a computer game, a video game, a sport. I never found that one thing, and it was just always something missing. And I remember I picked up boxing for a little bit, and I wanted to feel so cool that, I would lie, I would embellish and lie to my friends, like, yeah, I've done this with boxing and I've fought these people. And I didn't do any of it just because I wanted that thing that I was good at and I can, dominate in and stuff like that. But going back, 19, not really great at one specific thing. I had a headache every day for a year. And I go to my dad one day, and my mom too. My mom, was very supportive through all of this. And I go, I think I'm just getting old or something like that. My dad's like, 19. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? Now you're 19 years old. You haven't even come close to that yet. Long story short, we go to the doctor. I'm like, listen, I feel like garbage. And I said to the doctor, I'm like, something's always been off. I can't put my finger on it though. We sit down to doing blood work, and the doctor is like, something doesn't look right. I want to throw you in an MRI, do an MRI in my head. And I go back to school because MRI, you need someone to read it, you know, and it takes like 2-3 weeks. And I get a call, and they're like, you have something. And you know, granted, I think to kind of make it worse was I couldn't really, because of the phone reception, I couldn't understand the person calling me from the doctor's office. And they said, you have something called the pituitary adenoma. And I'm like, I am sorry, I have no idea what that is. And they essentially just say it flat out. They were like, you have a small brain tumor. And I'm just like, I remember I was sitting there with my girlfriend, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you don't know what that means. Come to find out later, it was very safe. But I'm sitting there like the whole life just flashed before my eyes. I was like, is that it for me? You know what I mean? I'm 19. Is it done already? So I remember every second of that phone call, and that was, you know, that haunted me. So that, you know, I think would light a fire under anybody's ass, really, except mine for what followed it. I remember I'm 5'6". I was 150 pounds, pretty light, you know, could move around and stuff like that. And it just sent me into a crazy spiral of trying to figure out what was wrong, and, you know, the stress of school, the stress of life. And I just ate, you know, the same way anyone would. And I shot up to, in the span of like 5-6 months, I got up to 200 from 150. So just quick, right?
His Balkan season.
Yeah, that's all I said. I'm like,
I think that's
Yeah,
everyone's.
I'm dirty Balkan.
COVID. Yeah, that's everyone's COVID
exactly,
story.
right? So, you know, I eventually got up to 220, which 220 at 5'6". I'm not talking the 220 at 5'6" where I can bench 400 pounds. I'm talking the melted ice cream 220 at 5'6". Yeah. So, and it was hard. It's just, you know, being in the moment, you didn't realize it, but looking back, it was just, oh my gosh. And like, to add insult to injury, you know, I have an exemption for, you know, the vaccine and stuff like that. And because of that, this was when all this vaccine drama was going on, and I actually wasn't allowed on campus at my college. So I had to do all online classes, and I was 200 pounds, and I found out I had a brain tumor, and it was just everything just, you know, piled on at once. And I was going through some other personal stuff too beyond that. And it was just like, it was such a mess.
Yeah.
Here's where the racing part comes in. I'm
like, how does this tie into racing? I'm holding on here.
Get back to the car. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're just
I'm 20. You know, at the time, all this happened within like a year.
Shoot.
I'm 20, and I'm playing. You know, I'm not going on campus. I'm playing video games every day. You know, it was affecting myself, my relationship, and I'm 20. And I'm pissing through college, not doing anything with my life, not going out. I wasn't, you know, a drinker or anything like that in school. So I rarely went out or anything like that. And so very lightly, I was like, you know, you wanted a race I had this kind of like, you know, revelation and stuff like that. I was like, you wanted a race when you were a kid. Why don't you poke into that, right? You're not doing anything, just like look into it. I think the added benefit of Gran Turismo coming out around that time too also helped. But, you know, home for winter break then from school, I go to Autobahn before it got bought out by K1.
Nice.
Start karting, and obviously, you know, like anyone else, I was beating the people there, but you can't really use that as, you know, a valid thing, because some people would come in there drunk from the food court at like 8 at night and start racing. So you couldn't use that. But I was like, all right, this is fun. I like this. Like, you know, I will admit, I had that time where I was like, I want to go to Formula One, right? Because you don't get it. You know, that dream got stomped out very quick. But, you know, then I was like, okay, I've been karting for like 6 months now. My medical problems were still in trouble. Like, I'm still figuring out my life, but this is a great outlet that I can use now. Because of my medical issues, it rendered me extremely tired. So going to the gym just kind of really just like fell off. I was doing what I could 5-6 days a week, but it was just, I couldn't focus all my stress into something, and karting, rental karting at the time was that. So I poked around in some owner clone karting with some people by my school, but you know, that was for like 1 or 2 events. And clone karting is like the dirt oval karting, but we did it on a road oval course, but it was very, very strange. But anyone who looks up racing school will probably find Skip Barber as the first thing that pops up. So that's exactly what I did. Not even like, there's no even thinking about it. It was like, I go to my parents and I was like, you know, had this entire long story of basically everything I'm telling you right now, and said, I want to do this. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to, you know, well, I shouldn't say that. I was saying, you know, I'm going to go to Formula One, but my parents were like, all right, dude, whatever. Right. But we'll help you out with this, because my 21st birthday was coming up. So they were like, all right, we'll do the first part of it. Right. I do it. I'm not even going to lie. It's average, you know, first time in a Formula car, first time doing skid pad drill, everything like that. But it was average for what it was, which means I had full competency in the car, was comfortable in it. And it did, for me at least, it felt like I was in the right spot. I was like, I love this. This is incredible. I want to do this again. So I was like, okay, what do I do next? I remember I walked in. So funny. I was there for the 3-day. I walked in, and it's so funny how soon you get stomped out. Like, as soon as you enter into the real world of it. I worked with a coach named Gerardo. I forget his last name. He's the racing director for USF 2000 now. Amazing coach, wonderfully talented coach. And we were all just talking and stuff, meeting each other. And, you know, some kids were asking, like, how do you do this as a career? And he was like, he looks at me, he goes, well, if you want to, I didn't even ask it. And he goes, if you want to go to Formula One, you're too late. Looking straight at me. And I was like, oh, there goes that, right?
That wasn't me.
I was like, oh, okay. You know, I was like, I'm going to leave right now. But no. Yeah, and I had to go down to Sebring too. So I'm in New Jersey. I had to go down to Sebring for that. So I wasn't able to leave, right? But I was like, okay, you're sad about it because anyone wants to drive that, right? Until you figure out, you know, the reality of it. And I was like, okay, how do I make this work, right? So I do the 3-day. They were like, hey, come back for our 2-day advance. Essentially, the first part of it is just operating the car. The second part of the coaching is, can you operate the car safely with other cars? I do that, and I'm even more comfortable in the car. And for what it was worth, I thought I was pretty quick. And they said, you know, we'd love to have you in our development series, right? So I'm essentially telling the entire story. I think we can either start and like.
We could pause right there and then kind of rewind a little bit. I got a good question I was wanting to ask.
That's how I got into it. I don't want to tell the whole thing yet.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's exactly what I think everybody wants to know. But when you were talking about kind of everything compounding and just like brick on brick on brick, and it was all stacking, you had those 3 big things going on. Is there anything that you can remember that you've done, maybe something that somebody said to you that really kind of brought you out of that? Or was it, if I listened correctly, was it you driving for the first time?
Yeah. No, I really love that.
What tools, did somebody say something to you? What brought you out of that, you know?
Yeah. Definitely a couple things. Also, Salty, we might have to whip out the gong if I'm overdoing it, right? I am. I'm super into Christianity. I have a wonderful relationship with Jesus and God and stuff. So that is very self-explanatory with, faith and just keep driving.
Mhm.
And to be honest with you, my grandfather was in World War II, Vietnam, and North Korea. So everything,
service.
yeah, everything. He unfortunately passed away in 2020, but if there's one thing I took out of that, it was, yeah, it was brain tumor. Yeah, it was this, but I found out the brain tumor wasn't fatal at all. It just really screws up your body. And I say to myself all the time, I'm like, my face is not getting blown off in war, and I'm sleeping in a bed. If I that's literally what I would say to myself. So it's like, what even is my problems if I got a little fat because of what it is, but
Yeah.
what am I even, you can be depressed and you can be sad about it, but that's the kind of the way I looked at it, is like, do you have any real problems if you're going to college, you're hanging, you have friends, my girlfriend was so extremely supportive throughout it because it was tough on her too. And just the selflessness she had, the selflessness my parents had, just all kind of pushing me through. And then, like you said, being in the car for the first time, there was that moment of relief saying, okay, I'm in the right spot now. I've been looking my whole life. I always felt like I was walking on a balance beam of life where it was always iffy on if I knew I was in the right place, whether it was sports, school, what major I wanted to be, what I wanted to do in my life. When I got in that car, closed the visor for the first time, and you're by yourself, the indescribable feeling I was talking about before, it gets me, and I get the same feeling as if I was doing it for the first time every time, which is also a really beautiful thing. But yeah, it was definitely that moment of, this is it. I couldn't pin it down to one thing that someone said to me that really pushed me forward. It was just the multitude of the actual selflessness, the people I had around me, my parents, my sister, my girlfriend, my friends, just all recognizing what I was going through, but not putting me down because of it and stuff. Like, I know you get fat, you poke at your boys and stuff like that. But just, each one of them just lifting me up in their own different way was a huge contribution to that as well. So yeah.
All right. So how about so I know we're talking about your mentality, everything that you've gone through. What techniques or routines do you have that have helped you not only manage your stress, but stay mentally clear, stay on focus, and kind of keep your eye on the ball, like stay on task?
Yeah. No, I love that question as well, because I get that a lot, because you can experience extreme burnout with getting sponsorship, right? The whole thing is dictated by if you can get the buck to get in the car, right? So there was a period I had to spend a year out of racing just to manage partnerships and sponsorships and just figure everything out. So you can experience real burnout, but the motivation, it's not even motivation, it's more of like an organization tactic. If you're looking at it like, I got to get set for all of 2026 and I only have this much time and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to be like, oh, I can't do it. The way I break it down is, what am I doing today? What sponsor am I going to go after today? Who do I need to email today? I'm just looking at it from, what do I have to do like right now? Because when you start, same thing with anything. It's like if you have a lot of homework, right? We were all in middle school once. If you have a lot of homework and you're looking at, oh, I got this essay and that essay and this paper to write, you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do this. But if you're like, okay, just do this worksheet, that's done. So to sum it up, just taking it one day at a time, one thing at a time, and not looking at the mountain of it, just helped me so much. And that was really kind of what it came down to.
All right. Brandon, you want me to grab the next one or?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me cue you up for that too. All right. So, has there ever been a point where you were just like, "This is too much. Screw it. I'm gonna go do something else"?
Actually, for me, there was the point of, this sucks, but there's actually never, at least one that I can't recall, and I think I would if I had it. There was never a point where I was like, I'm gonna go do something else. For me, as long as I've been in it, it's been kind of like a ride or die type thing. Like, you can get behind and you can understand, not making it as a driver, but this has always been like, this is the world I'm gonna be in, and I'm not thinking about doing it another way. So that I haven't honestly had a moment like that.
All right, so let me ask you this then: for those times where you're burnt out, where you're kind of like, "What am I doing?" Because we all get those like, why am I going through so much just to maybe?
Yeah.
What do you do to kind of pull that out of your head, pull that negativity out of your head, rebuild your confidence, and just refocus your mindset on your goal?
Yeah. No, I actually kind of have, over time, I've definitely established a way I kind of handle that. Usually what I'll do is, because when you live the kind of lifestyle we live, and I actually made a post about this recently. Everyone loves looking at the Instagram post, but no one sees the 90% of the computer and the simulator and emails, and you know what I mean? And that's like, the driving is like 5% of it, and that's when you ask yourself, why the F am I even doing
Yeah.
But I'd say like the kind of system I've implemented is don't force it for that day, because then you're just it's gonna roll over into the next day and you're gonna, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. So like, if I'm ever having that extreme burnout, I don't know if this is gonna work. I literally I'm like, okay, take the day off from racing. Don't worry about racing for that day, like, at all. Play Xbox, do whatever you want. You don't need to send an email. You don't have to do whatever. And those 8 hours of just not even thinking about it, honestly, is enough to really kind of get me, okay, I'm going to wake up today. I know what I have to do today. There's been, I guess, a time it was harder because I was finishing college while all this was going on. So I did have to take more of those breaks back then. I work for my family's company right now. So, and I work from home. So does my father. So we play off each other. It's very like flexible and stuff like that. So it's way easier to recharge myself when I do feel that burnout and stuff like that. And, I'm also lucky to have a great, friend group where I am. It's not like, I went to college and my friends live in California and I live in New Jersey. Some of them are 10 minutes down the road. So, I'd say for anyone, watching this, if you're experiencing like extreme burnout, give yourself just the rest of the day. Don't think about it. Right. Of course I say that. And then I look and my Zappin poster is like staring me in the face. And fun fact, if you didn't know, I have the same birthday as Max Salty. So that's what, I have to be his fan, right?
That was really good. That was really good. You were like, that was a perfect segue into this next question. So you do racing, you have your personal life, and then I'm guessing you have a professional career as well. Is there a method to the madness of how you balance those out? Because they all sound very demanding, and your personal life probably bleeds into racing and your professional life. So the scheduling, like how do you keep it all straight? Is there any techniques that you use? Do you just live by your calendar? Is there anything that you do to keep it all straight?
Yeah, it's very It can get rough sometimes, but given my absolute love for racing, when you're working on racing, you get more excited than anything. Like, especially when you're really starting to understand how the business aspect works and you really have a pitch together. It's almost like fun sending that email to a sponsor, like, I'd love to work with you, just hear me out, blah, blah, blah. It's fun to be on the sim, I think for a lot of people. In terms of balancing, anytime I'm like, oh, this is a lot, I'm literally just saying to myself, I'm like, how bad do you actually want it? If it's too much, blah, 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 then what are you doing here? You know what I mean? I'm very kind of hard and very just, really brutal on myself when it comes to anything that's remotely close to giving up. How I balance it really is like, I have a 9 to 5. Again, fortunately from home. So, if I need to check a racing email, like it can be done. So I do integrate racing during that as well. And then balancing personal life too is like, that's what it essentially is. It's you wake up 9 to 5, you go to the gym, you come home, you sim, you go to bed, you do everything again, right? So same thing as anything else where you have the weekends, hang out with your friends. I see my girlfriend once a week, which is hard because you go from seeing her every day at school because we met at our school and stuff like that. There are some sacrifices, but
it's a blessing, trust me.
Yeah, I kind of look at it the same way you would anything else. Like even if racing wasn't a part of this, one of my buddies, really smart, he works in finance. Same thing, 9 to 5, has to go in, wearing a suit, everything like that. Comes home, goes to the gym, goes to bed, does the whole thing over again. So it's like it's pretty much not even different from what a regular lifestyle would be. I think it's just added that we need to set aside time for sim, emails, and stuff like that. But
yeah. So is there anything so a lot of times we have boundaries in our lives for whether that be relationships, friends, work, like I got to have good work-life balance, or, for you, maybe racing. Is there any non-negotiables, like when it comes to racing, hard nose for you, like I cannot sacrifice this, or I can't give this up, or I can't train on this day, or, I need this, or I can't do this. Is there any non-negotiables for you when it comes to racing? Things that you won't do without, or things that you just won't entertain or won't do at all?
Yeah. So no, I have a couple things. For me, it's not really a day by day thing where it's like, oh, I won't train on this day and I won't, do this. It's more of like an end goal thing. So I get obsessive. You can get very obsessive in this world. If anyone has watched the movie Whiplash, where he just got towards the end of the movie, if anyone doesn't know, it's about a jazz drummer who just, got too into it. He was lost in it, and it consumed his entire life. And as much as I love it, I still plan on getting married and, having kids and stuff like that. And racing, if you're traveling all over the world and stuff like that, it can get very messy very quick. So my kind of hard nose, or I won't let racing cross that line of, that end goal. You know what I mean? I won't let it. And there's been a couple times where, I'm 22, so I don't know if I'm close to, I'm not close, at least in my opinion, to having kids. But there's been a couple times where it's really, I'm overdoing it in my life, and I'm trying to force it in relationships, and I'm trying to do all this, and I've had to take that step back, like, calm down. It's not that deep. You know what I mean? You're not. Yeah. It's not like you're in F1. You're not in IMSA. You're not getting paid to do it yet. So just bring it a little bit. That, and essentially, I get a little fuzzy with representing companies that are, in my opinion, morally not good companies. I feel like that would be the same thing as anything, though. If you're an athlete, if you're anything else, but I haven't even had a situation that's been like that yet, where a company came to me and I didn't like them or what they represented. So that I can't even speak on that. I just know that's more of like a placeholder where if that were to happen, I don't know how I would handle it. So, it would, but most likely I just wouldn't work with them. But yeah, those are essentially the only really two things that are like, I can't relinquish that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think those are good ones. I think a lot of people would have those same ones, right? Like, I'm not going to let anything, even my professional career that pays the bills, come in between me and my family. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So I know we talked to, you touched earlier on, how do I say this nicely? You got really fat.
Yeah.
It was bulking season.
Yeah.
Right? It was bulking season. He was, just hitting the gym.
Well, I'm
dirty bulking.
I'm going to support Ben and Jerry.
Yeah.
No, but no. So
can't have one without the other.
Yeah. Right. So, it's funny because it was during COVID when we were all most of us were getting fat. I went from 250 down to 190.
Wow.
But nice part about that was my Army base had a gym. I had a key to the gym, and
Still didn't go.
Oh, dude, 7 days a week.
Perfect.
So, I was able to lose that weight, but let's talk about physical health and what it takes, the physical health part of being an F1 driver, being a Formula driver, a race car driver, and also just going from 200 pounds at 5'6". I was rocking 200 pounds at 5'11", and I was fat.
Yeah.
No, but so how did your physical condition affect your performance? Like and on top of that, like, what did you do to actually get yourself to where you could fit in a car, but also to where you could be competitive? Like how, losing the weight, getting in shape, and like, what do you have to do to stay in that shape?
Yeah. So essentially, I've only had a handful of races. I've only had 4. So I know so much about the world of racing and so much about F4, but I'm still young as a driver and stuff. When I went to Sebring for my first 2, and I did okay out of the rookies. I think I landed like P9 and P11, and I was super, super hard on myself, and and I wasn't in it and stuff like that, and I didn't even know what it required at the time. I was still like 200 roughly in shape, kind of in shape-ish. How in shape can you be at that weight? But I wasn't pushing the car to what it had. I was still holding back, and I didn't understand what it took physically, and I had my own mental reasons of why I was holding back. But now I'm getting to the level where I'm comfortable pushing the car. I'm comfortable really whipping out a G.5, 2 Gs and stuff like that. And my last weekend really kicked my butt. I did good. Like, I was out of the car for a long time, and I was catching podium on lap times and stuff like that. I ended up P4 on both days, but for being out of the car for a while, it was really cool to see what I can do. But staying on the topic of the physical part, just the raw, just shoulders turning the car, and even like I trained my neck, and I always love when like I see rental karters training their neck, because I'm like, it's rental karting, you're not really pulling out any G's, but the fact that they're like, they just want to be so ready for it, I love it. But you train your neck, with almost like this isn't really going to be an issue. And then on my last weekend, I'm pushing the car like a rocket ship. How much of a rocket ship can an F4 car be? But I'm pushing as hard as I can, and my neck's like dying after 25 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I've been training this thing. I've been training my neck for 4 months. and I'm still not, you know what I mean? I had a driver who I'm friends with. He just tested Formula 3 over in Spain. He said he had to like pull it back just because those things, you know, it really, really gets you. And for anyone who doesn't understand the sport, like you love it because it's like, oh, it's just driving. I drive all the time. But it's like when you're fighting that and you still need all the processing power to really understand where you're at in the race, how you're planning out your next moves, because it's like chess at 100, and I guess for me 120 130 miles an hour. It's like chess. I'm planning out overtakes a lap before they happen, right? So it's rough because you have to be conditioned enough where the car is not taking up all your focus. If I'm really out of shape and my neck's not strong enough and my core's not strong enough and I'm just gassed, all my focus is on just, oh, can I get through the lap? Can I get through the lap? You know, but definitely my last weekend very much kicked my ass. And as I'm getting into bigger and stronger cars, it's definitely going to be something you really have to, at least for me, really have to focus on and stuff like that, because you don't take it seriously in the beginning. And you're like, oh, it's just driving until. But I would say that if you're getting into it, you need one of those moments to be like, okay, this is actually how it's going to be. But yeah, it's really just it's taking care of joints, taking care of, you know. It's also the last thing I'll say on it is I spend a lot of my time just bodybuilding, lifting. I wasn't trying to be a bodybuilder, but lifting and big arms and stuff like that. And you can't be, you know, I was 200 pounds barrel chested in my first race, driving the car like Donkey Kong. And, you know, you can't, you know, like it doesn't work. So, strong joints, just being very nimble and stuff like that. Even though you're sitting down, you're still exerting yourself as if you were sprinting at 70% for a half hour. So yeah, that's my whole take.
All right, so I know you mentioned G-forces, and like I think I was telling you, I just bought a new car. I threw it in the launch mode, and I pulled 1G on takeoff, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is like a rocket ship!" But how many G's do you normally pull in a race? Like, I know you have your front G's, your back G's, your side G's. What's the most that you're pulling, you know, without wrecking?
Yeah, so
I know once you wreck, you pull a ton of G's.
Yeah, right. With the pulling a lot with the wreck. I recently just went to Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen was the first track where I didn't get a break, and because there's so much banking, the track does a lot for you, but it pulls a lot of G's for you. The most I ever got to was like 2.2, which is nothing compared to like what Formula One's doing. But 2.2 initially from a side G, it's like, if anyone wants to look it up that's watching this, it's turned at Watkins Glen in real life. At least for me, it sucked. Because I also I kind of sit forward like this, and I kind of stick my neck out like this. Other racers don't do that, like kind of relaxed. But side Gs are definitely worse because we're belted into our Hans device, which holds onto our helmet. So it's like we can't even go like this when braking, really. And then front G's coming at you, it's just you're just going back in your seat, so it's whatever. But the side G's, where you have to look where you're going, and it's 2.2 the opposite way. Definitely the roughest, you know, after 25 minutes. But yeah, low twos. I couldn't even put an exact number on it. That's pretty much it. Hopefully, I kind of want to see what it feels like to get up there, but you know, I guess we'll see. You know.
So whenever you're driving, you say you prepare. You got to prepare for a race or an event or something like that. Just kind of like any professional sport, like they got to get physically fit and stuff like that. So when you're doing this, like how do you stay on track? Or if time is a constraint, like an opportunity just came up, but you're like, wow, I am not prepared. Now I need to lock it in. Like, is there any certain routine or regiment you go through, or you have a good go-to that you as a driver do? Or how does that look if maybe you're short on time, you don't have, you know, a month or whatever a normal workout looks like to train?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you do when like you're critical on time?
Yeah. So being in the sport you're in, it's definitely, you want to maintain the same thing with any sport. You want to maintain being in, like, being ready to go, right? So racing is like a year-round thing, because seasons end in December. You start testing in the end of January. You know what I mean? So you always want to be in that spot where you're good. I started taking the actual medicine I needed to kind of take care of my medical issues, help me get, all my hormones on balance and stuff like that. So going from the highest I ever was 160 now, maybe a little bit below 160. So being lighter feels, so much better. So now I'd say I'm in that state of, like, I'm ready to go when I need to be. Obviously, you never turn down a seat. If someone calls you, it's like, and it's in a gentleman driver style, and it's like, we want you right now, you go. It doesn't matter if you get tired, and you push through it. And I had a conversation with one of my buddies the other day. Like, I played football, so pushing through pain was just something we were adjusted to already as kids. So we understand how to do that from a physical perspective. But any sort of specific regimen, I'm just making sure my neck is on track. Because that, for me, it's neck and shoulders are the first thing that give out. So you really just want to, like, if I have a month, I'm just focusing on, can I have my shoulders be strong? But I'm also focusing on, I want to make sure I'm not deteriorating any joint issues or anything like that, so that when I'm there, that I'm not getting any creaks and stuff like that. I'm just, fully loose and stuff like that. So that month leading up to it is definitely more about mobility and just making sure everything is, I was gonna say, like, in a weird way, like almost like you kind of like oil like a robot's joints or something like that.
You got to stay oiled up,
Yeah, I didn't want to say, because I was like,
No Diddy.
You're on live. Don't do that.
Is Diddy in here? Is Diddy in the chat?
I'll leave it at that. But
you gotta remain a well-oiled machine, right? Instead of just oiled up,
Hey, Nick, we got a question from the chat for you.
Yeah.
What is so this is from ICAT Max, who is from South Africa, by the way. Yeah, you have an international audience.
Yeah.
What is the most difficult track you have raced on, and what made it as tough as it was?
Yeah, what I was just talking about, Watkins Glen, Sebring, and other tracks. You have those breaks, you have those long straights and stuff like that. Watkins Glen is like, you don't have a break there. Anyone who's played it on sim even knows you're just going. In real life, it's way worse, because talk about physical exertion. Banking makes the G's pull even harder, because you're going faster and it's catching the car, which means you're just getting pushed even harder. But there's no brakes at Watkins Glen. It's except maybe through the S's, but that straight is only like 4-6 seconds long, and you're already thinking about going through the bus stop. So physically, from a physical perspective, Watkins Glen was the hardest. Definitely a very technical track because of the banking. It's very forgiving because of the banking, but it can also, if you upset the car and you don't take care of the car and you're trying to do whatever you want to do instead of what the car wants to do, it will punish you very hard, because there's barriers. It's not like open, every driver in F1 is going on the gravel today for some reason.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, we have no runoff really. So except only in a couple turns. So if you lose it, you're losing a good part of your bank account as well. So
What's
keep that in mind.
It's not only hurting you, it's hurting your wallet.
Yeah. What's your dream track? If you say Monaco, I swear to God, I will come to this computer.
I will come through this webcam.
Street circuits you can't do, right? But it's been an ongoing forever battle with Silverstone and Spa. Spa is taking that like 51% versus 49% Silverstone though. So I'd say Spa as of right now, but it's a forever battle between those two.
All right.
Okay. I'm actually curious. I want to see what the Spa racetrack looks like now.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so Spa has its Spa's got some history behind it, and lately it's got some sad history. Talking like Antoine Hubert. He was what, Formula 2 or Formula 3? 2, right? When he had his accident.
Yeah.
So I know, Rin, you don't know much about Formula, but what was that, 2-3 years ago? So there's a lot of names in there that were friends with this guy. They all kind of came up through karting together. And unfortunately, and I watched the race the other day. He unfortunately lost his life on that track at what, 20 years old?
Yeah.
And it was just a freak accident that made a lot of changes, but they all came together from that, and they still honor him every year with a run around the track, which is beautiful to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spa is oof.
Since we're so new to this way of streaming, I'm not gonna attempt to put it up there. But it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I mean, just the scenery alone. Yeah, if you can get it up there.
Yo, Rin, shoot me the link. Shoot me the link real quick.
Here, I'll just shoot you the picture.
I forget what turn it is, but Oscar was describing how from one of the turns, you can actually see turn 1 because of just all the elevations, and it's like turn 1 is like 2 miles, but if you look up, you can see it while you're running the track. So I have one of my best friends is from the UK. Congratulations to him. He actually just became a radical factory driver. This kid is a very wicked, incredible driver. And he's doing Spa. He's doing like these crazy
he is
tracks.
doing your dream track. That is awesome.
So, and he's
you ask him for a ticket?
Yeah, I was like, get me over there. But
let me on your team, man. Let me be in the pits for you.
But yeah, he got a quick story. He got a call like 2 weeks before Spa because some guy knew a guy who knew him and said, we don't have a driver. We need you to come here. He was last place on the formation lap and won, and it was multi-class, and he actually got P1 for his class in that race. And after that,
and for all the people that don't know, that is good, right?
Yes, yeah. So P1 is
top or
position 1.
Okay, thank you.
He went last. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
It went over my head too because I'm so used to it.
Yeah. No, he went last. He went last to first. So I've done that in Mario Kart a handful of times. So
you talked about the race can be unforgiving on your body, and we briefly touched on some of the drivers that got injured on this track specifically. Have you ever faced an injury? And if so, how'd you get through it? What was the recovery like?
Yeah, not anything. Thank God. God willing, I haven't been hurt in the car. I hope it stays like that for the rest of my career. I actually do think God kind of intervened a little bit. I was supposed to race at Sebring again in April. And I go ice skating with my girlfriend for the first time ever. And I always told her, I said, I'm afraid of falling. And she made a valid point. She said, you can race a car at 130 miles an hour, but you can't go ice skating. I was like, you're right. So we go, and I fell and I shattered my ankle, like completely broken in half and stuff like that. I can only imagine that I wasn't supposed to go to the Sebring race for whatever reason, and that was the first thing I thought of. But recovery went great, and then I ended up racing again and stuff like that. So if anything, it was probably better that I went, because that's the only thing I can kind of mark it up to.
So I'll follow up. Do you know anybody in your racing, or anybody, have you heard of anybody kind of close or like a friend of a friend getting injured and like their road to recovery? Like, if you can speak on it, like what was their injury? How did they get past that? Was there a certain workout? Was there a certain physical therapy? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah. So I know a guy, he ended up, he was in Formula 3. He broke his wrist in the car. Obviously very high spirits about it, but especially for racing, it's all surrounded by physical therapy. You cannot skip a beat on that because it's all in our fingers and in our wrists, and it's not just muscly and stuff like that. It's very precise, a lot of precision and stuff like that. So you have to be, as soon as you get that cast off, it's just straight, I'm in PT, I'm working on my hand again. Same thing for me in my leg, because after I was in a boot, I was already confirmed to race again in July. So as soon as I got the boot off there, I was just like, all right, it hurt so bad, but I was like, you got to do it. It was my throttle foot. It was my right leg. So it's like, not really a big deal because of, throttle and stuff. But yeah, him especially, it's like, you need your wrists, you need shoulders and stuff like that. I'd say the most important thing is just physical therapy. No matter what, really. But yeah.
So one of the things ICAP Max brought up was racing is and will always be dangerous, but with technology, we hope it gets safer every year.
Yeah.
And Rin, remember I was telling you I was going to show you that
like
video.
An excellent question.
Yeah, I was going to show you the Roman Grosjean video.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the Roman Grosjean video. That's not a normal. And this was everything that could go right in this horrible situation went right. Like, this was on the opening lap.
And you said he got barely anything from that, or he got nothing at all from that?
Nick, if I remember right, burnt hands, some burns on his feet.
Technology, all because of technology has evolved so much.
Now, I'll say this: if that happened the next lap, that would have been a very different situation.
Mm-hmm.
That was the opening lap. That was like the third turn. Mm-hmm. So what happens is in a race, and I don't know if they do this in the Formula 4 series or not, but on that opening lap, you saw that Mercedes pull right up. The opening lap, that's the medical and the safety car, and they follow that first lap before they go in case something happens. Mm-hmm. And because the first lap is usually the first corner of the first lap is when you wreck. That's where you're going to see it. So that worked out perfectly for him. But that was super scary to watch, seeing that. And then I think he was in there for like 23 seconds in the fire before he jumped out too, which was amazing.
It's so incredible because he actually said, he was like, he was in there and he was looking at the fire all around him and his helmet melting. And there's an interview of him saying this. He says, at that point, I was just like, this is how I'm going. And then he's kind of like falling asleep almost. And well, I don't know, that's kind of the terminology he used. And he says, no, you have a wife, you have kids, get up and get out. And then that's when he was like, and then he kat up and stuff. So, thank God though for, all the tech and everything. But
yeah, Kat, so at the end of that video, they showed him climbing out. He refused to go on the stretcher. He walked to the ambulance. I mean, and ICAT just brings up Senna. That was a horrible weekend in F1. Senna, I don't think there was any way of preventing that other than the halo probably would have done it. But Ayrton Senna, arguably one of the best racers of all time.
Yeah.
And I do say arguably because, of course, Schumacher, Hamilton, Verstappen.
Yeah.
So many great names in that. But yeah, Senna, unfortunately, when that shock broke and it went, or I think it was a piece. No, that was the day before that the piece cracked someone in the head. And that was Kimi Räikkönen, I believe. Senna took the suspension bar through his helmet. There was no stopping that. I don't even think a halo would have helped him, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that was a sad day. And then when you saw like his friend died the day before, and yeah, that was a rough day for racing.
Oh my God. Yeah, I have the privilege of being friends with Sebastian and Oliver Weldon, two phenomenal young men racing right now. they are the sons of the late IndyCar driver Dan Weldon. Same story, right? You know, being in oval racing, IndyCar, you're going 230, right? You know, but Sebastian is actually, I believe, in second place in the standings in F4 Italy, the hardest Formula 4 championship in the world. So Oliver is crushing USF Juniors right now. So very, very cool to be, you know, friends with them, and very, very cool to kind of see that progression. But yeah, Dan Weldon, I had to throw that out there too.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And it's cool the connections you make. Like, I know I told you some of the connections I've made, and you know, and it's funny, we were talking probably 3 months ago about the Cadillac F1 team, and here it is.
Yeah.
But,
oh gosh.
So now that we've talked about all this beautiful, you know, death and destruction and getting just all depressed, let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about some mental health. No, but so I mean, look, we see what can happen in racing. We've just shown a perfect example with Roman Grosjean of something bad going right, but we also talked about, you know, Art and Senna. That, you know, so we know what can go wrong, but during your time in racing, what's one of the darker mental health times you've had where either something happened on track or just something wasn't going right and you were kind of going down that rabbit hole?
Yeah, I actually have a very perfect answer to this. Nothing. I'm fearless now. Okay.
Fear fears me.
There's Jack Daniels for that. No, don't drink. It's bad.
I learned. I'm going to keep referencing my last race at Watkins Glen because I probably learned the most about myself as a racing driver at that race. It was the first race I got into after breaking my leg. And breaking your leg, you know, I have a titanium plate in my leg now, so I'm very like there is that state of like you're very cautious, like very, oh my gosh, I don't even want to jump because I don't want to twist my ankle and it breaks. And if you don't like, I didn't explain how I broke it. I literally fell on myself. It was the most unathletic thing ever. I fell like on my own leg, and it just I was the wrong way and it just snapped. But
2.5 pounds of force to break an ankle.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, you're very cautious, and this has never happened to me before. It's 2 a.m. the night before my first practice, and I remember they fitted me for the seat, and I hadn't been in the car for a while. They fitted me for the seat at like 6 p.m. I'll go back a little bit, and I'm already getting a little. I'm like. Because when you're in a Formula car, for anyone who doesn't know, it's not like sitting down. Like I'm in a seat right now. My legs are all the way in front of me, right? So anyone can kind of look up the seating motion of it. But you're laying down, right? So it's 2 a.m. I can't sleep. Anxiety through the roof for the first time ever in my life, ever. It has never happened to me before with racing. Until that point, I was like, holy crap. I might not even be able to do this tomorrow because I'm so afraid I'm going to hurt myself now. Yeah, that's essentially
wow.
Yeah. I think his knees are a little close to him, but you know, our legs, they're a little more straighter, but
that's not that bad, right?
Dude, that's me. That's me first thing in the morning.
That's how I sit when I'm relaxing.
It's very, very comfortable, actually. I do like it a lot.
Okay.
But it's 2 a.m. and I almost was like, I can't do this. And then you snap out of it, like, what the hell are you talking about? But I was genuinely afraid I was going to hurt myself just because you're coming off of a big injury. And then so many nerves, so much anxiety. I didn't even want to get in the car, but I put on all my kit and stuff like that, get in the car, get out there for FP1. I'm leaving the pits, and then I just jump the throttle, and I'm like, oh, I'm fine. You know, and it just everything settled back down. But that was kind of, that was very, I debated whether I wanted to do it. And I was fortunate enough where the race was paid for. But that was even more of an incentive because I was like, I worked so hard to get this. You know, it's not just like, you know, my family paid for it. And I'm definitely not knocking if families can pay for racing or not. But it was like, it was my race. Like my parents didn't pay for it. It was my race that I earned. So that's why I was like, all right, you know, you broke your leg ice skating. I think you're going to be okay. To add insult to injury too, I saw on social media a young man who lost both of his legs in a F4 race.
I saw that too.
One in a million crash, right? Same thing as the Haas and Roman Grosjean.
Still
And
racing.
he was back in the car 11 months later with 2 prosthetic legs. I was like, if he can do that and not
Modified?
yeah, I was like,
No.
I think
That's crazy.
No, he's got the 2 spatula legs going.
Yeah, 2
Nice.
prosthetic legs. I was like, I think, and he got podium, and I was like, I think I'm good. Yeah. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
now I know one of the questions was, you got to have some insane core muscles for that to do that. For now, the seat kind of angles you that way, right? You're not just sitting there in like the child birthing position, like, oh, I got this.
Yeah, no, the seat. So when you're like, I'll use my phone, right? So when this is like in your road car, this is like my butt is sitting on here. And it's pretty much like this. It's angled up, like, so my butt is like down here and your legs are kind of on an angle upward. So it's very like, it is very, very comfortable. And you are kind of, yeah, you're not like just in a baby planking pose. But I love it. So I'm super sad to go to GT and have it be like a normal seating position. But yeah.
Oh, and so the positions change when you go.
In GT, it's a little bit less. Your legs are super in front of you just because it's a regular car at the end of the day. So it's a little more in line with how a road car would be.
Okay. So you kind of touched on it for my next question about like being sponsored or having somebody like kind of sponsor you, have the money, you didn't pay for it yourself. So you're kind of driving for somebody in a sense. How does that feel if you don't get the position that you want, or you don't get the spot, or you don't perform as good as you want to? Is there anything that you do to kind of like battle back? Like, man, I got this heavy rain cloud because I didn't do as good as I wanted to, but you know, it's okay. Like, how have you dealt with that? Or have you won every single race?
Imagine. Yeah, no, you can definitely. There was a big mistake that I made my first race where I was so hard on myself. I wasn't even. It was the podium ceremony, and I was having at 21 years old a total temper tantrum about it, right? And I wasn't clapping for anyone else, not because I was mad at anyone else. You know, everyone else did amazing, but I was just so disappointed and just so angry with how I did and stuff. And that was my first race, and I came like P9 out of like 14 racers, which is still like okay for what it's worth, but
it's better than a Sauber car.
Yeah, right. But you know, down the line, it's like progression is progression. Lewis Hamilton did not good at all his first year in F4. For anyone who doesn't know that, totaled the car a couple times, bad positions, stuff like that. So it's not just like, you can definitely see when someone's consistently bad in a personal and humble way. I don't think I have that. But you can definitely get clouded the same way. It's like the same way any sport would work. Of, you know, oh, I did crappy here, but the only kind of thing is now and how it changes is someone didn't pay 25 grand for my rec baseball game, right? So I can be upset with that. When you're in it with sponsors, sponsorship takes a long time. It takes like, you know, sometimes 8 months, sometimes a year, sometimes longer. So they know you. They know you as a person. They know you as a driver. A lot of the times in the lower level series, it's more about business incentives. So more about presenting them to, you know, high impression rates and a lot of people. So in a usual circumstance, a sponsor is still getting what they want, regardless of your positioning. Obviously, they don't necessarily want to be associated with someone who's doing bad, but they're still getting kind of whatever they need out of you. So that also kind of takes the pressure off when you realize it's not like, oh, if I don't come in podium, then I'm losing this sponsor. In most situations of sponsorships and partnerships, it's not like, oh, you have a bad race or two and you're gonna lose the sponsor. You know, does that make sense?
Podium is which positions? Is that like top 4, top 5? Or?
Yeah, so it's like what people like, it's so annoying because no one actually realizes how hard it actually is to get first place in a race, let alone second and third and stuff like that. So when you're with all your friends, they're like, how many of you won? And I was like, none.
Right, because that's what matters, not how much work you put into it.
Yeah,
if you ain't first, you're last.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Ricky Bobby.
You know, it's more, I always tell people this, it's less about can you get a podium twice and more about can you bring the car home enough times consistently, like P5 position. I say P meaning like place you come in. So if I ever say like P5, just like I came in 5th. You know, coming in 5th, coming in 4th, you know, even, you know, coming in 6th, like I'd say like the sweet spot you really want to be for consistency obviously is podium, but like if you can maintain it within that like 1st to 5th place just over and over and over and over again, I'd say you're a phenomenal racer if you can really keep it within those rounds from season to season. But sponsors, like what they don't want seeing is their name in the car and you're trashing the car, you're pulling a Logan Sargent. I'm sorry, Logan. You know, every other race, you're just smashing.
Wait. Let's not hold on. Logan Sargent's a great American hero. He just didn't do great his season. Let's make fun of Lance Stroll.
Yeah, facts.
As I
today,
say,
right?
Lance Stroll, his dad bought the team so that he could still race. Like, but I mean, you look at certain racers. I think Fernando Alonso, the year before his first championship, he was consistently like P4, P5. Like he was not winning, but he was consistent, and it made him a contender. Last year, Lando Norris was a contender for the championship, and he didn't start winning until Miami, which is a quarter of the way through the season.
Yeah. Well, that's how, you know, you look back at Oscar too, you know.
Oscar's super consistent.
When Max was, you know, crushing the whole thing for the past 3 years, no one would look back and be like, oh, there's Oscar again, and there's Oscar again, and there's Oscar again. No one would like see that. And that's how, I'm not saying I'm the only one in the world that noticed that, but you know,
same thing this year, George Russell.
Yeah, yes, exactly. You look at these consistent people who are always towards the top. It's like they're not, but it's like you're getting fourth, fifth, third, you know, and just over and over again. Then it's like
consistent
transitions
points
into the next year, right? So Oscar right now.
All right, so we do have a question from the chat. So Kat says, racing is international. For instance, South African drivers were used to driving on the left. Are racing cars different? I mean,
no, I'd say because it's like you're just sharing one track. Thank God I don't have to worry about someone else. You know, unless I'm like thinking of
two-way racing.
Oh God!
Unless I'm thinking of the question the wrong way. But I think he's definitely more appealing to like the wheels being on different sides and stuff like that. I've never experienced something where I've had.
You've done one-seaters mostly, right?
Yeah, only single-seaters. So it's like it's also like your mindset going into racing, you can really adjust to anything because it's like, I'm not driving a road car, I'm driving a race car. So I have to throw everything I know about the road out the window. So
do we have a picture of what the inside of a car would look like?
Yeah, hold on.
Reference.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Just right here.
Right?
You're driving backwards.
Hey, that's how I roll. So on the like the GT cars, or like the Porsche Cup, do those cars come left-hand drive, right-hand drive, or are they all standard left-hand drive?
No, it's a total mix. It literally, I think, just depends on where you are in the world. A lot of U.S. based racing is the same, aspect as we are here, and then over in Europe, it's like, yeah. So it's like the same way it would be at any portion in the world, unless I'm wrong about that for whatever reason. But so
And
if I'm facing the wheel in America, it's to the left of the car. It's the same thing for
and
any
Rin,
car.
for the picture, did you actually? I have two. This will work. All right. So hold on. See if I can. So let's see if I can make this work. Oh, come on. So those GT4 cars, just highly modified, but they're just the same thing as your Prius that you drive to work every day.
My little Toyota Corolla. I got you.
Yeah. No, I mean, people also don't realize it's just a shell of the car. So, that you buy a Porsche, turn it into a race car, you're taking everything out of that car and just replacing it with anything that has to do with racing. So it's not even kind of what it used to be, I guess. But
Follow up on that for you, Nick. So she's saying she used her left hand to change gears, or is it like, how do you shift and stuff? Is it you like go down, or is it you do it on the wheel, or how does that?
Yeah, I've only ever been in, sequential shifting, so paddles really. That's all. I'm too afraid to do H pattern, which is literally the footwork and the heel toe and clutch. And I had to do it during my training. I was okay at it. I'm sure if I spent a month doing it, I'd be fine.
Back in my day, that's all our cars had.
Yeah, I was gonna say my coach
in the 1900s.
Yeah, my coach called me a princess. But yeah, so it's I think if that would probably be the hardest transition if you're running an H pattern car and you're kind of left-handing with right-hand shifting, and then you go over to Europe and it's the opposite. That would probably be the worst. Thank God I don't have to. But everything's changing into paddles now. It's like all the H pattern stuff's like slowly getting phased out. So, every series is using sequential paddle shifting now. So I don't even think it really matters anymore.
Gotcha. So getting back on track. So have you ever seen Cars, the movie, the animated movie?
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, when Lightning McQueen, he's like, before his big race, he's, just running through, I am speed, So he's just mentally preparing for that big race, or any race that you have a little pressure on you. Maybe it's every race. Do you have like a song you play, or do you have like a quote you kind of mentally say, or do you even say something out loud like, I'm going to do good, or, I'm going to be safe, or what like do you
I'm
do?
a real racer.
Is there anything that you do?
Yeah.
You're more of a racer than me, so.
Yeah, two specific things I do. I listen to Stereo Love because
nice.
whatever that is, the horn or trumpet, whatever calms me down.
That's awesome.
That calms me down. You gotta say calm, you can't be too, The second thing I do is I'm just going through the track in my head. I'll actually go to a part because usually our paddocks are like big parking lots almost. And I'll go kind of walk away, and in my head, I'm just doing, I'm like, all right, so I'm starting out and I'm going right and then I'm going left. And we have to warm up our hands and our wrists, and it actually looks hilarious. So from a visual perspective, this
go
is
in the middle of Walmart, do your warm-ups.
This is what I'm doing from a visual perspective. I'm going like this. Because I'm warming up my fingers, that's why I'm going like this, and my wrist. And I'm also going through it in my head, and it looks so weird. And some people will see me like, okay, that man is alone in the parking lot doing whatever this is. But yeah, it'll be like, but I love it. Yeah, it's really how I just kind of like lock in, because as soon as you can just know the track off the top of your brain and you know exactly where you are, and it just makes it so much more confident, makes you so much more confident and comfortable when you get out there.
Okay. So we're gonna shift a little bit to money. So you talked about sponsors. What happens if we don't get those, or if you don't get those, or somebody you know racing? Do they just not race, or do they generally take that out of their own funds? Has there ever been a time where like fund acquisition has been a problem? You're like, man, this might end it.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
It's never. You always have to deal with the anxiety that it's never secure all the time. So
Yeah.
these guys in F1, it's not even secure for them. The biggest example I make, Teo Porcher was a young man who won the Formula 2 World Championship. No F1 teams, he barely got enough money to do the F2 Championship. Ended up winning. Extremely talented kid. And he didn't get picked up because he didn't have enough behind him from a financial perspective or a business perspective where sponsors could come in and contribute, even though this kid was one of the best drivers in the world. He went to IndyCar and ended up leaving, right? Because of the same thing. So it's never, even if you're in Formula One, unless you're Max or unless your dad owns the Aston Martin,
Yeah.
it's never lay down, relax, the seat is covered until you're paying that. It's very hard because I do work as a in management, where essentially what I do is I'll go out, since I know so much about sponsors, I'll go out and get it for younger drivers, utilizing the assets that I have. We do work a lot with our outdoor advertising. So if I I'll use Red Bull, for instance, and if I go to Red Bull and I'm like, hey, I'm able to get you a couple 100 million impressions through outdoor advertising, way, way, way more of an incentive to be like, okay, yeah, we'll throw you, however many thousands of dollars you need. But the prices racing are at, most people could generally not work a 9-to-5 and then just be able to just do that just because, unless they're not paying pretty handsomely.
You have to have those relationships.
Yeah. And it literally,
or dad be the
or as you said, it's literally
Dad's a billionaire.
It's literally or your dad's a billionaire. But it's literally comes down to, if you don't get it, you don't race. So that's where a lot of the mentality and the burnout and the motivation comes from, is if I don't get this, I'm not going out there. No one's going to feel bad, and no one's going to, that's the worst part, because everyone has something unique, right? I've roughly 30,000 on Instagram now. I'm proud to say, except a couple I have in my inbox right now, I've answered every single DM I've ever gotten. Most drivers would just kind of shrug that off and whatever, because I'm just so interested in helping people. Everyone just has their own story, right? And everyone has their own thing. Like for me, it's the brain tumor and stuff like that. But it's just like a world of show business, where it's like, if you don't have a check ready to go, I don't care about your story. Not me. I'm saying from like a sponsors or a team's perspective. Teams don't do the whole, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and that's the worst part about it, because everything anyone knows or thinks about sponsorship who doesn't know the world of racing is completely wrong about it. I don't even know kind of how it got there, really, where it's like, some people are like, oh, I'm just gonna go to a karting track and hope a sponsor sees me. Odds are the CEO of Target is not going to be at the same karting track as you, and they won't even it's so opposite from what everyone thinks it is to what it is in real life. And I'm sure there's definitely more questions about it, but I don't want to ramble for 2 years about it. But yeah, that's cool.
Sorry. He said something I thought was pretty awesome, and I just I have a quote for it. You said some drivers, some racers don't check their emails. They don't care. Like, now they got that ball rolling, so they're just going to focus on themselves. And you said you do the latter. You still focus on helping others because you know what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one quote that comes to mind. I can't tell you who it was, but what you said reminded me of it. And the quote is, "The best way to succeed is to help others succeed." And it seemed like what you said kind of really resonated right there. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
So really cool, really cool.
No, I appreciate it. And it's not like, I don't say it in a way where it's like, oh, I'm so like, I answer everyone or whatever. It was just like, there's something about it. Again, like, I never knock any families who can put their kid through F4 with no problem. A family who can jump 300K on an F4 season, never knock those families, because every racer knows if they were in the same exact spot, they would do the same exact thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's also that kid is still working hard as a driver, right?
Yeah.
Granted, I still think there's some work ethic things that you gain from when you try to make your way yourself. And that is definitely why I answer so many people and talk to so many people as I do, because it's like, there's two main issues racing really comes down to. If you want to break into it, it's money. But beyond that, it's like, you don't even know where to go. Like, literally, it's like, people have no, like, some people who want to get into racing, like, they've never heard of Skip Barber before. They've never heard of, I didn't. They've never heard of, all they hear is karting. Okay, what does that even mean? Karting. Where am I going? What am I doing?
Well, if you're from the New York, New Jersey area, it means trash.
Yeah.
I'm in the karting industry.
Yeah.
Got it. You're mafia. Okay, cool.
Exactly. But so I'm like, all that I need to do is just answer a couple of questions. And some people, like, they think I don't consider myself a celebrity, but I also don't have the chip on my shoulder where it's like, well, I'm a racing driver and I have a bigger Instagram, and it's like, I'm just, granted, my Instagram's not even that big, it's 30K is not really anything spectacular, but I'm not, just because I'm in F4 and they're not in F4 yet, doesn't mean it's like, oh, I'm in my own club and you're, whatever. So it's like, why should I be like, oh, I'm not going to answer you? Granted, some things get in the way and I don't have time, and I'm experiencing that more. But just try to, I think it should never be like, obviously when helping people, it should never be a reward-based thing. It's not like, I'm going to help so many people and word of mouth's going to spread that Nick DeLucia is such a cool kid helping people or whatever. Like, that's not even what it is either. It's literally just, I was here 2 years ago where you are now. And I had to spend 2 years learning it instead of just asking someone 5 questions. So if I could save them some time, by all means, I'm going to do that,
So, Nick, let me ask you this one. Part of what you do besides the driving is you help drivers. You kind of have the management company going on.
Yeah.
How do you help your drivers find sponsors? And are you doing the work for them?
Yeah.
Or are you teaching them how to get their own sponsors, which could kind of be counterproductive because, like, well, what do I need you for? But at the same time, are you teaching them the skills they're going to need to survive, which eventually they might be like, hey, I know this guy that can help you get started. Like, what's your methodology with that as a manager?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a long journey getting to management. I graduated with a business degree in entrepreneurship. I've been in sales since I was a little kid. So, all of that just flows already kind of within me. So it's easier for me to understand and harder for someone else to understand. But originally I started with sponsorship coaching. I did $100 an hour. Like, if it was a 1 hour session, we just go over your personal story, how we can get sponsors off of that, what we need to do, everything, right? I already had the insane fire under my butt for racing. And I was ready to put in that time already. I was putting in that time where I wasn't in the car for 6 months, emails every day without stop. And I thought everyone was doing this. Come to find out that no one actually wants to do that, and they want the driving lifestyle. So we started off with doing $100 an hour, which, by the way, people are charging thousands for that information, like thousands of dollars. But I wanted something where I was getting paid for what I knew and what I worked hard for, but something maybe a kid could afford. Because the whole thing is that these kids don't have enough money to even start. So why am I going to make it $5,000 for knowledge of how to start? It just, you know what I mean? Like I could be an ass and be like, okay, this is $1,000, but I'm going to be like, no, let me just help as many people as I can, but still getting, some money on the side, whatever. Right. I did it for a while. I did it for probably total 6 months, but just come to realize that it's like, we'd have the session and then the kids afterwards, they'd be like, all right, cool, whatever. They'd have a fire lit under their ass for 2 days and then be like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I don't want to.
I didn't want this much work.
Yeah.
Can I just drive the car?
I wanted to do some stuff, but not all the stuff.
Yeah,
I just want to turn the car left and right.
It's so much just being able to get in the seat. It's harder, a million times harder starting in racing than finishing. And that could be like a quote for the next 2 centuries. But it's way harder starting, getting the funding in the seat. But the kids were, they were younger, 14, 17 years old. But then you also kind of realize it's dumb on my part because I'm like, how can I expect? I just finished college with a business degree, and I'm not saying I'm Mr. Smarty Pants over here, but I'm like, how can I expect a 14-year-old kid to be like, oh yeah, I got all of that information. I'm going to go do that tomorrow. You know what I mean? I can't expect a 14-year-old kid who hasn't been in sales, who hasn't done any of that. I can't be like, okay, now go ahead. You know what I mean? So just the whole model of, it wasn't working. People weren't sticking with it. And, now I'm out of school having a job where it's like a 9 to 5. So it's like, I can't keep doing this, and I'm also not going to make a kid spend $100 either to then go do nothing with it. So I started poking into management where we are able, because now I know so much about this world where I'm like, okay, people want the service of, let me just pay you and go do it. I'm going to fulfill that, right? You know what I mean? I'll still help people on Instagram, answer questions, whatever. Obviously, I can't get too in depth into it, but now what we do is with a client, we're only working with 1 or 2 at a time, preferably 1, just because we're utilizing our assets for them. And if I have 10 kids utilizing the same asset, it gets spread thin very quick, and you can't get that amount of money that you need. So I'm very lucky for the position that I'm in to be able to utilize outdoor advertising at a low cost. All we have to do is essentially pay for printing and then pay someone to go put it up, right? And then we get roughly 200 million impressions a month of it's all over Hoboken, Newark, Jersey City, some places down the shore. And so that's a big outlet for sponsors. So we'll take that plus whatever they have to offer, plus a couple of things here and there, because I'm getting good viewership from my social media. So we'll just throw that all in one basket. And then we already have, established connections that we've already worked with in terms of sponsorship. So we'll go to them and be like, hey, we're looking for this kid to get into a series. This is what we're offering. And this is also where you're stepping into the realm where it's like, because people are like, oh, it's all talent, right? The kid's not even in the pitch. It's like we prefer he is, because by the way, this kid is also winning national karting championships and national championships, the pitch will go through much smoother. But everyone thinking oh, a sponsor just has to see me race. The person's not even in, we're doing it, you know what I mean, with our assets, and they're still getting something out of it. So that's kind of essentially our methodology, is someone who knows nothing, like a driver who knows nothing about this wants to race in F4. He's a national karting champion. Can I just utilize my stuff, for essentially we do it on a monthly fee. So you have a monthly fee for our outreach services. Sponsorship's never guaranteed, right? ever.
Yeah.
I could be one of the most insane drivers on the planet, but it's never guaranteed no matter what. Our fee is just for the work that we do, but it's like we have to charge a fee also, because if I'm getting you enough money for a $250,000 season, why wouldn't I just charge you $250,000? You know, it didn't make sense. That's why we have to charge a fee. But it's also not like you are getting proof of concept too. You're not just getting, oh, maybe, you know, it might happen. You're getting, like, it's all getting laid out for you. You know, we're having phone calls on a weekly basis of it. You know, I'm working with a kid hopefully soon to get him into like GR86 and stuff like that. And yeah, it's very methodical, very thought out, because I did get a little, you know, frankly, I did get a little tired of seeing people who would go through the coaching and then be like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be this much work. I don't want to do that. They have the free will to do that, but I was like, if I can contribute even more through a full-on management service, let me just do that instead.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like it's very heavy on sponsorship. From what you said, like a normal 9 to 5 is not going to cover all the expenses while maintaining all your personal stuff. Maybe you can fill in, you know, maybe a couple $100 there or here if you're short with sponsorships. But was there ever a time when you had lack of sponsorships and you're just like people you can't do it? You thought it was over?
Yeah. Essentially every second of every day, Rinja. That's how I feel. Yeah, it's like you know, obviously in your head, your pitch is going to sound like the best pitch to a sponsor in the world until it's not. The biggest obstacle in sponsorship is to literally just getting them to answer. That's the hardest part, in just breaking through that wall of that first level, because anyone can shoot a DM to, you know, an energy drink company and they'll be like, oh, fill out this form or whatever. And then it just gets lost in the abyss of forms that people fill out, right? But it's even like what I have set up is a good pitch that could bring in a lot of customers for a sponsor. But it's like, we're struggling with just getting even in front of them. It's like, once you get in front of them, it's fine. But getting up there is just so hard, because it's just so saturated where they're just getting thousands and thousands of emails and messages a day from racers where they're like, fill out this form, fill out this form, fill out this form, and they, you know, they never read it. But yeah, that's essentially what we experience all the time is, you know, like I said before, I'm looking to get into GT4. I actually had the wonderful opportunity, and we're still working out details. I guess this will be another announcement later, Salty, to test a Formula 2 car or a GB car over in Europe. And you need funding it's like $20K for like a day. You know, they never sent me an actual quote, but I'm just assuming it's like that. But if you don't get it, you don't race. That's straight how it is. You can't even explain it any other way than that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I do have a follow-up to that. So have you noticed when you're doing sponsorships and you're asking, you know, you're presenting, have you noticed a difference between whether you get one or not, with it being like over email, over telephone, in person? I feel like in person, face to face, you're seeing somebody, you're feeling their vibes, if you will. I feel like you get a lot more ground on those versus email, text, call, or something like that. What have you seen the most success with?
Well, given that, I think over the course of having my Instagram, I think I've sent and received somewhere in the range of like 6,000 DMs or something like that. So being able to read text, I've gotten good at that. But yeah, definitely 100% in person. if I'm actually talking with them, it's a whole different world because right, you're more enthusiastic, you're more whatever.
Got all
Yeah,
the body
exactly.
movement.
With the mistake a lot of drivers make going into it is they don't do any research on the company. They only make it about themselves. I'm a driver. I'm this. I'm that. I need money, right? You can tell with a company it's not going anywhere though when it's actually kind of funny. The companies who have the least money to spend on marketing are the most like kind of rude almost, and they'll blow you off in a very like unprofessional way. I reached out to a company recently and I was like, just shooting it back and like, I love your products and this, that, and the other. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit and said like, oh, I'm a racing driver. I know you have a crazy schedule. I'd love to just maybe hop on the phone or something like that. And they just read, I'd say like, I'd love to hop on the phone. Like, let me know whatever times you're available. And I'd love to work something out with you. And they responded with like, love it, dude. So cool. And that was it. They didn't even read it. Like, so, but it's the companies that don't, it's generally the companies that don't have the money act the most arrogant. And you can tell it's going somewhere when the companies off the bat are just, they're nice with you and they're very like, yeah, like let's hop on the phone and very open-minded and stuff like that. Cause it's like, worst thing they can say like, hey, like, we're just not interested right now. You know what I mean? But pitching online, it's definitely become, it's definitely easier because it's like, I'd say not pitching online, but opening up the conversation online is definitely easiest because you can hit a lot of people. But 10 times out of 10, you want to get them into a spot where you're like on Zoom, on the phone, so they hear your voice, they hear who you are as a person, if you're nice, because you can tell if you're on the phone with someone, you can tell if they're being rude, you can tell if they're snobby, like that.
Yeah.
But you want to get them on the phone on a Zoom no matter what.
Yeah. So I guess our next question would be, was there ever a moment where you were just like, you couldn't get the sponsors and you were like, this is it. My dream's done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty straight up question. Yeah, I mean, there have been times where it's like, because you look at the end goal. So for me, it's IMSA, to be a hybrid driver in IMSA end goal, right? And you look at this just mountain of seat time that you need in front of you, and I'm like, I'm getting in one race here, two races here, one, and I can't feed the dragon as much as these kids with, families who can. And that beats you up more than anything. It's just like you're looking at these people who can just next F4 series, F3, F3, F2, and just like whenever they want it, they just boom, 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 right? But sports car racing gives you an opportunity where you can catch up to those skill levels and stuff like that, because a lot of people in sports car racing are within that same bracket as you, where they're trying to make it work. And it gives you more of an incentive to really train hard too. But I wouldn't say I had a specific moment where I was like, I'm done. But there's definitely been moments where it's like, damn, like this sucks. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I'm going to beat out these kids.
Yeah.
More, it's not, I'll say it like this, Salty. This is probably the best way to say it. It's more that your dream gets demoted a level almost. So it's like Formula One, right? And then you see the money and the seat time and this and okay, IndyCar, right? And then you see, money, seat time, and then it's like IMSA, and you just like, and it just, so you kind of get knocked down a peg every time. But yeah, I've only so many pegs to go through left. IMSA's the last stop, but that's pretty good.
So when you had all that happening, like, so when that happens and like, you were like, shit, I mean, you kind of touched on where you're like, okay, time to readjust the goal, but is there anything you do to get you back into that mindset, back into this is the goal, this is what we have to do, and what do you do, like mentally, spiritually? How do you get yourself back on track when you're like, okay, I'm never going to race F1? What's the next goal? What do you do to get yourself there?
That again, it's a great outlet for me. Is definitely faith in Christianity too, because yeah, we have free will, and yeah, we can make our goals happen and stuff like that. But it's like the way I look at it from a Christianity perspective is, if I was supposed to be an F1 driver, I would be in Formula One. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't get beat up over it. It'd be cool to drive it, right? But like, in the same way I broke my leg before that race, I have faith that I was never supposed to be in that race to begin with. So, for Formula One, it's like, yeah, it'd be cool, but was I supposed to be there? And, if I was supposed to be there, why am I not there right now? Granted, with that being said, it's not as easy as like, oh, God's just going to land my butt right in IMSA because I want it or whatever. Like, you don't get handed everything. But it gives you a sense of direction. You almost kind of like know within like your heart of hearts, just like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be going now. Something like that. It's like, I would be there by now. You know what I mean? So mentally, it's definitely a faith-based thing. And then it's just readjusting the goal. It's also like, you have no idea what's going to happen if you get to that end goal too. It's like people have gone from, IndyCar to Formula One and, vice versa, and WEC to these bigger series. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. There's not one thing that's going to happen. Will I go to Formula One? Probably not. Am I fine with that? Oh yeah, absolutely. Could I possibly go to IndyCar? It's possible. Could I go to IMSA? It's more probable. Yeah, you just if you're very, as a racing driver, like on your feet about goals and spontaneous about goals, and you're not committed to one thing, it makes it a lot easier because you never really get disappointed. You're like, as long as I'm driving, who cares? You know what I mean? So pretty much it.
So with all that, you have your goals. We see that you have the mindset. We've seen what you've gone through, all the stuff you've overcome. Let's talk a little bit about what legacy you want to leave behind. I mean, you're young. I'm looking at Rin, who's young, still has hair. My ears are where the hair stops growing. Just years of doing it. But with all the lessons that you've learned, and I'll say one of the biggest things that I've learned over the years is age doesn't make you wise, experience does.
Mm-hmm.
You have a ton of experience, you're still motivated, what fuels your fire, what keeps you going with even after the tumor, not being able to fit into a car until you put down the snack case. Like, yeah. What keeps you going?
I actually, I said this, I believe I said this to my mom recently. I was on the phone. We talk about racing all the time. One of the things we talk about, actually, I hope she's watching this. We talk about what we would do if we won.
Hold on. Let me ask you before you go, is your mom's name Ariana?
Yeah.
Yep, she's watching.
Hey, Mom.
Shout out to Mom.
It's just like there's so many people being online. It can be a very miserable place. There's a lot of miserable people out there who just want to see others completely fail, completely just hate on life and stuff like that.
That was last podcast we were talking about that. Misery loves company.
It's like I see these comments and it's just like, what are you?
Your mom says hi.
Yeah. But in so many of these kids just resort to, well, I'm not in the spot because of my family or because of, this or because of that. It's like, I fully recognize, I grew up in a very lucky situation, went to a great school. But I don't have, in terms of a racing perspective, I don't have a family who could feed $2 million a year into racing. But I'm never going to be like, oh, it's because of my family. It's because what motivates me so much is the fact that it's all dictated by me, right? I say the quote I have, a personal quote I have from a lot of people is, I'm not a billionaire simply because I have not taken the steps to become a billionaire. It's not because my dad was rich and this person wasn't rich and this person didn't give me a handout and this person blah, 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 right? I'm not a billionaire because I haven't made myself into one. It's my responsibility. Like, I don't look at anyone else as a part of it. If I'm in a position where my family's willing to help me out, I'm not going to, out of pride, be like, no, I can't take it, right? That was only for one race that my family was able to help me out, and then I had to kind of figure it out for my own. But the sheer motivation is just the fact that I can control my own outcome with it, right? I do have the faith in God, and I do think God ultimately kind of, points you in that direction, and he does keep you away from paths you're not supposed to go down. So I wouldn't say that I dictate my entire life, but it's more just like, if I want to do it, it's all just based on how I do it. And just like that makes it so much fun to me. The fact that it's not even, you can look at it from, oh, no one can help me, but I'm looking at it from a glass half full where it's like, no one can get in my way either. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm 22, if I want to go race, I can't, my father or mother or family or sister, they can't be like, no, you know what I mean? If I want to race, I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to go do this with that money. I'm going to invest it here and go make more so I can race and figure out those parts. Like, and it also, it's very hard being like, you're 14, I talk to a lot of young men from India, and it's just like such a different world over there. Like, they're trying to, over here, parents are trying to get their kids to work at like 15. There, it's like parents I've talked to are like, kids have parents who like won't even let them work at 16 because they want them to just focus on school. So it's like, granted, I can't have the answer for every situation, only my own. But to sum it all up, what kind of just motivates me like so much is just like, it's all dictated by me. No one can get in my way, and no one like helps, but it's like, when you're fully in control, it means all the blame is on you. So if the dream doesn't work out, that's entirely 100% your fault and no one else's fault. No matter what. So
yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's an excellent perspective to have. And you put it all on yourself. So it's kind of like, burn the ships, we're going,
Yeah.
Like it's forward. Like we have no other option but going up. So
exactly.
I think that's an excellent perspective. I have, Nick, 2 more questions for you.
No,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I love
Ren. Ren. Did you pay the internet bill this month?
Am I skipping out?
Yeah,
a little bit. You're looking. You're back. You got.
Am I here?
Yeah.
I think.
Oh man, I may be a couple months late on my bill. I don't know. I'll have to check it after this.
May have a storm blowing in there, huh?
I hope not. All right, so good thing I only have 2 more questions. So Nick, if you had to drop racing tomorrow, everything, including management, including like talking to people about how to get into it, everything, how would you say it has impacted you in a positive way? Like, how has this helped shape you? If you couldn't continue it, what would you take away from it?
Geez, that's probably like, I feel like I'm in a movie. That was the most insane question I've ever had, probably in my entire life. I appreciate that, Ren. Essentially, what I just did I go blurry for a second?
Yeah, you're out of focus just a little bit.
Oh God, I don't. This is my dad's.
I'm having internet issues. He's having camera issues.
Right, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, just exactly what I was just talking about. That if I had to drop it all tomorrow, the one major thing I would take away from it is it's on you, no matter what. 100% of wherever you want to be in life is on you. And if you don't get there, it's because of you, right? Granted, any specific scenario can happen where it's like someone could physically, some person could physically harm you and, kind of ruin your life that way. But there's been people who have been resilient from that too. So if I had to drop, racing tomorrow, it would definitely be what I just touched upon of just like 100% of the time, if I'm not in a place I want to be, it's 100% because of me,
Last one that I have for you, Nick. When's your next race, man?
Oh gosh.
Where do we get tickets?
Yeah, we're still so very fortunate. I hope Salty, we're definitely gonna have to make a clip of this. A huge thank you to Dan DeMonte and Joe Menudo, who I'm working with. Dan DeMonte is one of the DeMonte brothers who owns Skip Barber Racing School. Huge, massive mentor of mine. Incredible genius salesperson. Just has a huge mind for business in the racing world. Huge mind for racing. Joe Menudo runs the WRL and SRO category of Skip Barber. So like they operate as the school, but they also operate as their own team. Just huge thank yous to them. Just really kind of like set me up with a career and stuff like that. What hopefully will be a paid career in the future. I want to say, look for Circuit of the Americas in December in WRL. Very up in the air. We need a couple of sponsors to land and stuff like that, but
you need someone to sit there in your ear and go box.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we need a couple sponsorship deals to come through. Rain, if you're seeing this, let me know. I reached out to them, DNA. But yeah, I'd say December Circuit of the Americas. If not, it'll probably just roll over into like Barber Motorsports Park in like March or something like that. But I'll definitely keep everyone updated on my thing. I think you can actually get tickets to WRL. I think I'm stepping into that space where it's not, a development series anymore, and it's like real live stream series. So it'll be very cool. But yeah, December. I don't even know what day in December. I think mid-December, like December 20 something. But I should have got more prepared for that.
You can keep us updated, and we can actually we can keep it up on the website too. We can actually track your career with that too, as a with some updates on what's going on. And I'm sure we would love to have. We're gonna want to hear some updates in a little bit, so we're definitely gonna be having you back on.
Awesome.
I know you had a couple of announcements for us.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
Yeah, so we just touched upon it. GT4 in the Aston Martin. See,
I'm good.
Okay, there we go. Wait. Am I losing it?
Wi-Fi bill either. Oh.
Okay, there we go. We're good again.
I didn't pay my Wi-Fi bill either, and look at that.
I'm like, did I pay my bill?
Yeah.
Can I get a sponsor to pay my internet?
But GT4 WRL with Skip Barber Racing School. I'm not going to drop the team name yet of who the potential formula test is for or with, just because it's not confirmed. I haven't gotten the quote yet. Imagine that, right? McLaren Junior Academy. But yeah, it's for anyone who doesn't know what a GP Boss Series is. They take older Formula 2 cars and go race them in Italy. It's not FIA Formula 2, but to be behind the wheel of something that can go that quick, 180, 190, 200 potentially, I'm all ears, and I'm really in it. So that's the only thing. Potential F2 test. A lot of content's going to be coming out of that. A lot of content's going to be coming out of GT4 and stuff like that. And I'm excited because I'm really just getting started in my career and stuff like that. And this is kind of my first official launching point. So yeah, pretty much it.
Excellent. Is there? So I know I posted up your Instagram in the chat. I know it's got links to your website. Before we end the stream and head out, is there anything else you want to put out? Anything you want to say? I know your mom's super proud of you.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look in the corner, I figured out how to post it.
I'm seeing it as you guys are going. So thanks, Mom, for watching.
By the way, this is our first real time using all the features on this. So, we're doing what we can.
Learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, huge thank you to you guys. Ren, it's wonderful meeting you. You have a very super strong resemblance to Markiplier for some incredible reason. I don't know if you've ever gotten that before. But,
I've gotten that a couple times.
Yeah. So
he just wants to fly.
Yeah. No, Ren, both of you, thank you for what you've done in your service and stuff like that. I think it gets overlooked a lot.
Don't thank me for my bad decisions.
But yeah, I have the privilege of working with veterans who want to get into racing too. And it's really cool. So thank you, Salty, for having me on this too. I'm already super pumped to get back on, but I have to be able to come back with some updates. If there's something I would leave out there, it's don't listen to idiots online. Usually people who discourage people from getting into racing are people who have no idea how racing works. And the second thing is like I said before, 100% of the time, you're not in a place you want to be or at a goal in your life is 100% because of you, right? It gets more justifiable to say that as you get a little older. If you're 14 and you're not allowed to work yet, I fully understand. Just give it time, right? Just be patient. Also, don't limit yourself to one thing. It's great to have a goal, but don't be like, I want to get to Formula One, and then just to get your kind of dreams crushed and stuff like that. But the one thing I'd say is just don't let anyone get in your way. I talk to a lot of kids and even a lot of adults who 20s, 30s, 40s, oh, that dream's gone. It's not. It's gone if you decide it's gone. And I obviously know responsibilities are a big thing, like rent and kids and stuff like that. But don't sell yourself short, because for most of my life, I went through, some bullying things in high school. For most of my life, all I did was sell myself short. And this time I'm not doing it. And it's nice to really step into that space. So big thank you to my parents, big thank you to my girlfriend, all amazing, supportive, selfless people. Big thank you to you guys and stuff like that. And hopefully I can be back on with some good news instead of being like, hey, Salty, so I didn't get in the series and stuff like that. But
you know what? Then it'll be,
I am going to the moon.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't get into the series, but you know what?
F4 driver turned astronaut.
I was able to help someone else. There's always going to be a way to make it positive.
I love hearing about that.
Yeah.
So that being said, we're going to end the stream here. Nick, I want to thank you so much for coming on. This is a great night. I'm going to be working on those videos. I'm going to be working on those clips for you, especially that one at the end where you're sucking up to your friends.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, but I'd look forward to hearing from you again.
Yeah.
You and I will be in touch anyway. I know we're working we're working a few things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So normally we would rate out. I'm not gonna lie, I've been chugging energy drinks all day, and I probably had to pee for about 45 minutes. So we're just gonna end this.
Yeah.
So, but thank you again so much for everyone who doesn't, who words, mouth, go, pinned message. I will post his Instagram again. Yeah, sometimes I just got to jumpstart that. But so that's Nick's Instagram. Go drop him a follow. I know Dagnab, you have a daughter that you want to get into racing. So go drop him a follow. Let him know you came from the Mental Reveille podcast. Let's go support him. Let's follow his career. I do see great things. By the way, when you do get into IMSA, tell Frederick Vesti that Salty says hi. He'll know who I am. But wait, is he giving me the death stare? No, he's frozen. I just see
the sponsors are cutting the
my
Wi-Fi
God.
now. The
He's
sponsors
looking through you.
all I see is a mic. Are you my drill sergeant?
the sponsors are cutting the Wi-Fi right now. It's crazy.
Right. But we look forward to getting updates on your career. Nightbot, you are the best. Don't forget. So I will be putting a recap in the next couple days up on the website, saltysergeant1745.com. Thank you all again. Nick, thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to end it from here. Before you jump off here, Nick, hang out for a second. I want to show you something really cool. So again, thank you all. We're going to end the stream here. Don't forget to follow Real, follow Rin, follow him on whatever, we're on Twitch. Follow him on there. Check out some of his gameplay, Marine Corvette. And we will see you at the next one. So thank you all so much. We appreciate you all, and we hope you guys have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.